Well guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode we're going to be looking at the LED lights that we had fitted some time ago on the Defender, and we're going to be fitting a brand new set that cost, get this, £55. So if you missed the previous video that we did fitting these two different LED light units, sort of samples, I'll put a link just up above and you can have a look at that. But basically we've been running these lights for a while now, testing them out to make sure that they've got some life in them and they don't get affected by the cold weather and the rain, and they both performed really well. Now a lot of you have commented on which ones you'd go for, and the resounding vote really went to the Halo type here on the right hand side. So I believe that is the type that we're going to be getting in. They're on the water at the moment, so LR Parts won't have those for some time. So it's given me a really good opportunity to fit some brand new headlights, which I can't believe they're only 55 quid. So £55 for a pair of LED headlights. Now I believe these come in left-hand drive and right-hand drive, so that is an absolute bargain. But how good can they be really? Well, we're going to find out. We're going to fit them. I'm going to try and get them wired up with the Halos being a daylight running light, and we'll see what they look like. And yeah, I mean, for 55 quid, I can't imagine they're going to be great, but I might be surprised. Let's have a look. Now that fixing screw means we can now rotate this out of its housing. There. And then it's just literally one connector. The thing I like about these is they've got a black main body. They've got the halo around the outside, then you've obviously got your main beam and your dip. So if I just show you a little bit of a close-up there. And these lights are reminiscent of quite a few lights that are at least £200 to £300. So the design is there if you like that design, and it's nice that it's so affordable, but how are they going to perform? That's what we want to find out. So let's get one of these installed. Now, as I said before, we've got two additional wires. Can you just see here? If you want to utilize that Halo ring, we need to find where we're going to actually wire these up to and how we're going to do that. It's got this little plastic plug on the back. Now, the idea of this is underneath there's a little bit of gauze, and that is to allow it to breathe. If you need to actually let the lamp breathe, that's when you'd remove this. That is how, if you get any condensation in the unit, you just remove this plastic plug and you'll be able to get the moisture out or just breathe better. So to get it installed, I need to take my old unit and I need to remove this bezel. It's just held in with these 3 tabs. Once I've got those removed, I'll orientate them onto the new lamp and we'll get it installed. Now, I did notice that this is a tight fit, very tight, so you have to really give it some force to get it to go in, but it will. Then when you've got it in place, this little piece here should line up. We'll get our little screw. There we go. So the light is in place. Now it's a plastic housing, it's not glass. I guess that's how they managed to do them a little bit cheaper. So one thing I'd just be careful of is when you're cleaning your vehicle or anything like that, try not to scratch that lens, because it's going to be more susceptible to being scratched with grit than a glass one would. But that's the price you pay, but they are certainly manageable. You can look after them. We're going to employ a bit of science here. So we've got 2 different colours. We've got a red and a green on this lamp. I've no idea what they do. So we're going to get a wire, and this will feed something. I'm guessing one's orange and one's white for the Halo, but we'll see. We've got a Halo there. We're going to go from red, unplug that, and we're going to go into the green. Oh, there we go, look. Nice. Orange. So that's more like a side marker light. I suppose that's more probably for the US market. You're going to have to basically look at the rules for the country you're in, because at the moment I've got the Halo working on the side lights, which is fine. But the trouble is, when it gets dark and I want to put the main lights on, in our country, in the UK, this Halo light is supposed to dim or go off because it's too bright. What I've done is I've taken the grille off, and that is because we're going to be installing this little unit. And this is actually out of a DRL bumper kit from LR Parts, and this is to isolate your Halo lights or your DRL lights from your main beam, or when you actually put your lights on. It's quite simple. So these 2 bundles of wires here will feed our Halo wire on each lamp. Then we've got positive and negative that just goes to the unit just to power them up. And then we've got this interruption cable that we actually need to wire into the lights. So when you put the side lights or the main lights on, that interruption cable will stop the power going to our Halos. It's not too difficult to do, and obviously if we can just, there's plenty of holes to feed wires through. I'd recommend going in through the grill here. We'll zip tie it on the main wire going to the other lamp unit. It's just a case of finding a switched ignition live inside the vehicle, because when we actually turn the vehicle on, that's when we want the power to come on to our halos. So I did have one other thought, and if you really wanted to, you could actually connect this wire here that goes to the amber ring to your indicator, so that when your indicator's flashed, the actual ring on the lens would flash as well, which it's not an awful thing. It would be pretty cool. I think I'd prefer it if it was on all the time and then just actually went on and off when you were actually indicating. So you'd have to reverse the signal somehow, but that is an option. You could use it as an indicator light. What I've done is actually release this harness here from the side of the motor box for the heater, and that's our main loom, and I've gone into it with my probes, and I've earthed it, and I've gone into each one on ignition, and I've found a wire which is here, this black one. It's actually black, and well, it just looks black, but it is alive. It's an ignition live, so I've pulled the casing out of it. I'm going to tee into that and take my feed from that to give us our ignition live. So the last thing I need to do is just to wire this trigger wire here. This is the orange wire onto our side lights. So as it happens, on our side light here, it's already got a feed off it, which I think was originally designed to feed off some spotlights. So we're going to use this now. It's teed off, and that should be power, so I should be able to plug that straight into that interrupt wire. So here is our tee off our side light. Those two are connected. We're going to go ignition on. We should have a halo. Now, hopefully, if that kit is worth its salt, I will just put the side lights on, and the halo should now be off. Now, there's no side lights connected, so they're not on yet, but if I go on to full lights, we should now have lights on without the halo. And we do. And we should be back on the halo. That's great. So that is what we're looking for. That keeps us legal. It looks fab. 55 quid. Wow. So we've got a little bit of a close-up here now of the wiring. So what we've done is we've obviously connected that light with our switching relay. We've run the wire along the grill here. There's a little hole. We've just gone and run the wire through there. Gone up into the housing. So we've got our feed for the halo that comes off our ignition live, same as the other side, and then we've teed into the negative on the socket as well. Okay guys, so as I said before, just a quick recap, we've teed off this little loom in here, the main loom. We've run down the wing here, you've got an inline fuse, old school inline fuse there for the relay. Comes all the way down into our light cluster, goes along the grill into our next light cluster. It's all wired up on the side lights, and yeah, looking good. Now it is worth mentioning real quickly that you do get additional wiring looms, look. If you've got a later vehicle, so this will enable you to just plug and play the lamps, but you'll still have to do that additional wiring trick to get the DRLs to come on properly. Well guys, how can you not go for a set of these lights for £55? I mean, I know it was a bit of a rigmarole wiring them up correctly for UK spec. It doesn't mean you have to, but it's just my advice would be to get one of those relay cut-off wiring looms to make sure they're linked into your full beams, and then they'll cut out as they should. I'll put a link in the description below and also on the screen where you can get those, as well as the lights. Now, I do think LR Parts, they've only got about 100 sets of these lights at £55, plus the tax, but still, that is super, super cheap. It's unbelievable how cheap they are. So even if they only last 2-3 years, I mean, it's got to be worth having. You could buy some sort of high intensity LED, halogen, whatever you like, you know, the filament bulbs that give you like so much more lumens. They're like 25-30 quid on their own for a pair of those. Why not go for a full set of lights with DRLs? I mean, It's just a no-brainer. So I don't mean it to sound like the shopping channel. I know some of you get a little bit upset because it's a little bit commercial, this channel, but obviously I'm working with LR Parts to promote their product, but also to give you some information on whether or not these are any good and how easy they are to fit. These are super easy to fit. If you want to go the extra mile and get the DRLs to work, you just need to get that little extra wiring loom, which isn't that expensive, and you've got yourself a fantastic kit. Like I say, £55, what a bargain. But there are only 100 sets of these, so do get yourself an order in pretty quick. Perfect job to do over Christmas. It's going to take you about an hour and a half to the whole lot. So as I always say before, if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. It really helps the channel, and do give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to check the other link that I put up through the video if you want to know how to fit these in more detail, because we did cover it in a previous video. But for now, that's it. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.